Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and this is World Today. It's 6 p.m. in New Delhi, 5 in the evening in Tehran, where Ibrahim Raisi is just about to be sworn in as Iran's new president. A number of foreign leaders are present for his inauguration, including India's Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar. It's 9:30 p.m. in Tokyo, where just over an hour ago, India won another medal, a silver, at the Olympic Games. Wrestler Ravi Dahiya won the silver in the 57 kg final. It was India's fifth medal at the Tokyo Olympics. And earlier in the day, India ended its 41-year medal drought in men's hockey. India beat Germany to win the bronze. So on the show this evening, we savor India's Olympic glory. 2 medals in a day, 1 silver, 1 bronze. We revisit the moment when wrestler Ravi Dahiya and the men's hockey team made history. Also on the show, the World Health Organization calls for a stop to the use of COVID-19 vaccine booster until at least the end of September. Now, the call for moratorium is the strongest statement yet from the UN agency. Remember, some countries such as Israel have opted for a 3rd dose of the vaccine. All that and much more coming up over the next 1 hour. But first, as always, the headlines. India's D-Day in Tokyo. Men's hockey team makes history, brags bronze medal after 41 years by defeating Germany. Wrestler Ravi Dahiya wins silver in wrestling's 57 kg category, while Deepak Punia loses bronze medal match. India expresses concern over incidents of violence, discrimination and persecution of minorities, including attacks on places of worship that have continued unabated in Pakistan. Foreign Ministry says these incidents are taking place at an alarming rate, condemns all such attacks. World Health Organization calls for a halt on COVID-19 vaccine booster until at least the end of September. The call for a moratorium is the strongest statement yet from the United Nations agency. And in Beirut, civil unrest marks the first anniversary of the catastrophic Beirut port blast. All right, let's get started. First up, the big news. A resolute Indian men's hockey team rewrote history as they won an Olympic medal after 41 years, defeating Germany 5-4 to win the bronze at the Tokyo Olympics. The 8-time former gold medal winners made the resurgence of the last couple of years count in the best way possible with an Olympic medal. Simranjeet Singh scored a brace, while Hardik Singh, Harmanpreet Singh and Rupinder Pal Singh were the other goal scorers for world number 3, India.
इस समय सारा का सारा फोकस पीआर श्रीजेश पर है। लंबी गहरी सांस इंजेक्ट किया यहां पर, श्रीजेश का बचाव, शानदार बचाव पीआर श्रीजेश का, और इसके साथ ही 41 साल बाद भारत ने इतिहास रच दिया है टोक्यो के ओई हॉकी स्टेडियम में। इस समय सारा का सारा फोकस पीआर श्रीजेश पर है। लंबी गहरी सांस इंजेक्ट किया यहां पर, श्रीजेश का बचाव, शानदार बचाव पीआर श्रीजेश का, और इसके साथ ही 41 साल बाद भारत ने इतिहास रच दिया है टोक्यो के ओई हॉकी स्टेडियम में।
The wait is over for the players, for the fans. A medal in field hockey at the Olympics for the first time since Moscow 1980. They beat 4-time champions Germany 5-4 in a nail-biter of a bronze medal match. You will never forget the scenes. Skipper Manpreet Singh crying like a child. Goalkeeper P.R. Srijesh sitting on the top of the goal post. Harmanpreet Singh hugging coach Graham Reed. President Ramnath Kovind congratulated the Indian men's hockey team for winning an Olympic medal and said, "Congratulations to our men's hockey team for winning an Olympic medal in hockey after 41 years. The team showed exceptional skills, resilience and determination to win. This historic victory will start a new era in hockey and will inspire the youth to take up and excel in the sport." Hailing Indian men's hockey team's bronze medal win in the Tokyo Olympics as historic, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted shortly after the win. PM Modi wrote, "Historic, a day that will be etched in the memory of every Indian. Congratulations to our men's hockey team for bringing home the bronze. With this feat, they have captured the imagination of the entire nation, especially our youth. India is proud of our hockey team." Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also congratulated the Indian men's hockey team for their performance. He tweeted, "Excellent display of hockey skills by the Indian team at the Olympics today. Congratulations to Team India for winning the bronze medal in hockey. This wonderful victory will inspire our youth to play and excel in this amazing sport." Congratulating Team India, Home Minister Amit Shah in a tweet said, "Congratulations Team India, a moment of immense pride and joy for every Indian that our men's hockey team has won the bronze medal at Tokyo 2020. You have made the entire nation proud." Union Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur congratulated men's hockey team on winning the medal.
एक लंबे इंतजार के बाद हॉकी टीम ने जहां एक और क्वालिफाई किए सेमीफाइनल्स में, वहीं पर ब्रॉन्ज मेडल जीतकर, कांस्य पदक जीतकर 135 करोड़ भारतीयों को चेहरे पर मुस्कुराहट लाई है, खुशी है और तिरंगे का मान सम्मान बढ़ाया है। अपने हर मैच से ये टीम कुछ सीखी भी है, सुधार भी किया है और जो मजबूत इरादे दिखाए हैं उसका कहीं ना कहीं फायदा इस मैच में देखने को मिला। इसी कारण आज हम एक कांस्य पदक और जीत पाए हैं। मैं तो कहूंगा युवा मेंस हॉकी टीम ने, ये जो युवा इसलिए कह रहा हूं क्योंकि ज्यादातर खिलाड़ी युवा हैं, तो मेंस हॉकी टीम ने जो ये पदक जीता है ये अपनी दृढ़ निश्चय के कारण, अच्छे खेल के कारण न केवल पदक बल्कि 135 करोड़ भारतीयों का दिल भी जीता है।
The goal-rich match was not an easy one for the 8-time Olympic champions. Germany took an early lead through a second-minute goal by Timur Oruz and posed a threat to India in the first quarter. After Simranjeet equalized with a backhand shot for India, Germany kept their cool, scoring 2 goals to take a 3-1 lead in the second quarter. But India pulled level late in that quarter thanks to the goals by Hardik Singh and Harmanpreet Singh, making it 3-3 at the half-time break. India then took a 5-3 lead after Rupinder Pal Singh notched in a penalty stroke and Simranjeet scored the winning goal of the match not long into the second half. Germany came back a goal and tried to force the equalizer, even taking out its goalkeeper to bring in an extra field player late in the game. But the Germans could not get another ball past Indian goalkeeper PR Srijesh, who was the star of the match with 9 saves. This was a win years in the making. In the last few years, the Indian team has achieved important milestones, including winning the Asia Cup in 2017, claiming the Asian Champions Trophy in 2018, as well as winning the FIH Series Final in 2019 over the past 4 years. India also reached the quarter-finals of the 2018 World Cup in Bhubaneswar and performed exceedingly well in the FIH Hockey Pro League under Manpreet. Sports Desk, DD India.
There's more from the Olympics. Indian wrestler Ravi Dahiya took home the silver medal after narrowly losing 4-7 in the men's freestyle 57 kg final to Republic of China's Zavur Uguev. Ravi Dahiya was trailing 2-4 after the first period in the gold medal bout. Uguev then increased his lead to 7-2, but the Indian wrestler didn't give in and came roaring back to win 2 points and reduce the deficit to 3 points. Ravi Dahiya's silver is the 6th medal India has won in wrestling at the Olympics. And joining me for more on this developing story is my very special guest, Mr. Malay Nirav, a sports analyst. Mr. Nirav, welcome to World Today. Good to see you. Now, first up, your thoughts on this big day for India at the Olympics, at the Tokyo Games. 2 medals, 1 silver, 1 bronze in wrestling as well as in hockey. Your thoughts?
a historic day for India with a teamwork that is rarely found in any part of the world. You know,
Right.
excellent intermingling of great determination, resilience, and a resolute kind of a determination mindset where you saw that nothing was going to stop them. They were unstoppable. This kind of a team, which is the average age of which is just about 25 plus, and that going there, facing the best in the world, Germans who have been Olympic champions, world champions in the past, in the last decade or so, going there and then performing in front of the best team and doing your best and coming back from behind and then catching them up and not allowing them to score the goal in the last 7th second. 6.8 seconds were left,
Right.
and we all thought that it was going to be all over with a draw and then preferably a shootout. But the way the penalty corner defense, the PCD team, stood there like the rock of Gibraltar, and hats off to our goalkeeper Srijesh. What an iron wall, what an iron curtain. Nobody could pass him. So
Absolutely.
what a great moment in the history of hockey and also for wrestling, you know. The second silver medal India has ever got in wrestling coming from Ravi Dahi.
Absolutely. As you correctly mentioned, Mr. Nirav, that this was indeed a very young Indian men's hockey team, and I'm sure none of them would be even born when India last won a medal, a gold, at the 1980 Olympic Games in Moscow. Talking about the players themselves, your thoughts on Simranjeet Singh in particular, and also PR Srijesh. He was, as you correctly mentioned, the iron ball, isn't it? 9 saves in all in the match.
9 saves. And then look at Simranjeet. You know, I can tell you, I have been covering cricket and hockey and all Olympian sports since 1992. I am yet to see a match of this kind. I have never seen the forward line in movement the way Simranjeet, he scored the first goal. It was a class. It was a class apart. And then
Indeed.
look at our Srijesh. You know, the gentleman. He is the example of perfect gentleman whose experience speaks through his actions and the way he carries the team with him. You know, after the victory, he climbed the goal post and then he said, well, the time has come for me to do what? To smile, right? This much awaited smile is the return of a smile to 135 crores Indians, 1.35 billion Indian population, and the Prime Minister, who was the prime source of motivation for the team, not only celebrating, but also telling them that, look, you are the best, and don't worry too much about victory or defeat. And when they lost in the semi-finals, he was backing them up like anything. He was watching the match, and I was told, right or wrong, it's a rumor, but I was told that he missed his yoga practice this morning just because he wanted to watch the match.
Indeed.
And I will not be surprised if it is true of the Prime Minister, the man who supported the team and the Indian players at every step. Win or loss, doesn't matter. Go and do your best. That was the message. And when you come back, I'll welcome you with both hands. So that is how the Prime Minister was there as a source of inspiration for the team which has now turned up as a source of inspiration for the entire youth of this nation.
Absolutely,
who have seen
without
hockey
doubt.
coming back to their foray.
Indeed. Let's talk a bit, Mr. Nirav, if you will, now about the man of the hour, Ravi Dahiya, silver in the 57 category wrestling match. What did you make of his stupendous performance?
Absolutely out of this world. You know, the man lost, but he lost like a lion, you know?
Indeed.
He was there. He gave the toughest possible fight to the tough opponent who was there in front of him. But the way he has reached the finals, that in itself is a story
Very true.
of a person who, again, not only displayed sheer power and strength, but also the tactics, which is strategizing the right moves, defending at the right places, attacking when your opponent is weak, you attack. Now that kind of a strategy, which worked so well for him, he missed the goal. It is hard luck. You know, one of them had to win, one of them had to lose, as they say. And it is not a case of grapes being sour. The gold is waiting for him. He has got his youth still there to take him to the next maybe couple of Olympics. And that is true of the third one also, who lost, unfortunately, the bronze medal bout. But Ravi Dahiya, a great name with great hopes for India and Indian wrestling, coming from a background which was absolutely humble, going against all odds, a true Indian, a son of the soil, going there and doing India proud with a silver medal. Hats off to him.
Indeed. And also let's spare a thought for Deepak Punia, who was unlucky, tough luck as some people call it. He lost the bronze medal match. But what did you make of India's wrestling team as a whole? And as you mentioned, high hopes from them going forward as well.
Yes, of course. We have Bajrang Punia coming on the on the mat tomorrow, right. And that will be worth watching. He's again a gold medal hope for India. But if we talk of Deepak Punia, let me tell you one thing. Deepak Punia has shown to the world that he has a long, long way to go, and he has a full, at least I think he will be there for the next 2 Olympics, because he's still just 22, a man with very little exposure and very little experience. And then going there and fighting it out as hard as he could. Maybe some tactical error here or there, which was primarily because of the lack of his experience. And he was trying to win the bout while he was leading 2-1. He thought that if he was able to hold the opponent for another minute or so, and therefore he went on a little defensive. Had he been a little more aggressive as he was in the first few minutes, first to second minute, then he would have won this. So this loss is one thing which is going to be remembered for what? For raising the hope for a medal in the next Olympics and many world championships and many other championships. So take it from me, Deepak Punia is the star of tomorrow.
Well said. Now, another match to watch out for tomorrow is the Indian women's hockey team match.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Nirav, would you hazard a guess? Any predictions for tomorrow?
Look, they can do anything. They are the biggest wonders of India in this tournament. I can say that. They are much, much, much more capable. And they have got that passion. You see, many of the games in this world are won not only by your strength, stamina, your physique, or your strategy or tactics. It's also won by your passion, the kind of a passionate, what you call mutual understanding, which is there in the team, the way they complement each other, that functional complementarity that you see on the ground in the Indian women's team is worth emulating. The entire world is talking about our women's team, the way they stood again like a rock before the opponent, and the way they have reached the bronze medal fray. It's something where I feel that India can very easily pin its hope for a bronze medal tomorrow morning. And again, the Prime Minister is behind the team, trying to tell them that, look, you are the best. You will go, and I know you will win. So the team has got, solid defense, the kind of defense that you saw. But the only thing, I think I must point it out, and many people have written about it, that they need to be a little more careful about not going very deep into defense, because that is where the dangers arise. So I'm sure the coach, Mr. Marian, who's an excellent coach, he would be taking care of them. And I'm also sure that the winners of the men's bronze would be in touch with the women's and giving them all the inputs. And the coach too, Graham Reed. Oh my God, I forgot to mention Graham Reed. He deserves all the kudos from all the Indians. He played like an Indian. He was there with the Indian team like an Indian. And so is Short Marine. Marine is also a great Indian supporter. Look at the exuberance that he shows on the ground, unmatched. So let us hope that the Indian women team don't come back without a bronze medal, and they walk shoulder to shoulder with the Indian men's team.
Absolutely. Let's all hope for the best and also cheer for India, because we are looking at potential medals coming our way tomorrow as well, as Mr. Nirav pointed out. But looking at the medals tally, Mr. Nirav, India 2 silvers, 3 bronzes, total medals tally 5, just 1 short of the London 2012 medals tally. So are we on course to better the London performance?
I think so. I think so. I have very strong hopes from A, the Indian women's team, B, the men's javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra, who's done excellent, who has given his best performance so far. He was #1 in the qualifying rounds. And then I have great hopes from Bajrang Punia, the great wrestler. The entire world is talking about him today. All the other wrestlers of the world are scared of him. So what does he do tomorrow? It will be worth watching. So there will be, I think that the London record will be broken.
Indeed. So let's all hope for the best. And finally, Mr. Nirav, just a quick comment from you before we wrap up this conversation. Any thought you want to share with our young viewers watching us at home and abroad, your recollections or memories from the gold medal win at the 1980 Olympics in Moscow in men's hockey?
Yeah, the great moment. I was in school at that time when India won. But mind you, today's medal is no less than important than that. I'm not trying to take anything away from the 1980 Moscow goal. But just remember, that was only half an Olympic. America was boycotting. It was a Cold War era, and very few teams were there at Moscow. So there was no semi-final there. There was no. It was all decided on the basis of round-robin matches, round-robin system. And India won, and that was a great win. But the greatest win before that was 1975, the World Cup, in which the finals and the semi-finals will never be forgotten because of two of the great hockey players, especially the two. It was a team led by Jitpal Singh, but Ashok Kumar and Aslam Sher Khan, two of the best. They will be remembered, and both of them, let me tell you, both of them today are expressing their happiness, and they're just their happiness knows no bound. And today's day is going to repeat history. Now, India is not going to be looking for something to remember only from the past. India has started living in the present, and it will be looking forward to a better future in hockey. I have no doubt about that.
And if I may quickly ask you, Mr. Nirav, looking ahead now, what can India as a country, as a nation, as a society do to encourage sports at the grassroots level, to encourage more players to come up the ranks from tier 2, tier 3 cities and towns? Any particular thoughts that you might have which might, click with the sport administrators across the country?
Yes, I think there is a dire need for reviving the competitions at different levels. First, the primary school level, then the secondary school level, the higher secondary level, or the intermediate level, the university level, and then the state and the national level competitions. That is #1. And then you start identifying the talent when they are young. So this entire campaign of Khelo India, which has been started by the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, this is something which can do wonders. And the talent search program needs to be started and needs to be run more efficiently so that you pick up talent at the right age and then chisel the talent and make them and prepare them for international arena, make them potential Olympic medal winners right from the age of 8 or 10 or 11. So look at this team. I'll just end by saying that the team that you are seeing today, about 9 of them were part of the junior team that was trained by another great coach, Harinder Singh, and they have done wonders today. So we need to pick up the talent at a very young age and groom them right from their childhood to see that we have many more players waiting in the flanks on the bench to represent India and to win many more medals.
Right, on that, Mr. Nirav, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your insights with our viewers in India and abroad. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, time for a very short break here on World Today. Keep watching DD India. Don't go anywhere.
Namaste land.
Marhaban ila al-Hind.
Zari India.
Salam India.
Namaste India.
Namaskar Bharata.
Mui
India.
Nahnu hunud.
India.
Ma Hindi hasti.
Mung Hindian.
Salam Hindustan.
We are India.
Your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in all Southeast Asian countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, scan here. Switch to DD India now. With the world's largest COVID vaccination drive, India is leading the way. As the vaccine reaches every corner of the nation, do not forget the mantra, Dawai bhi, Kadai bhi. Let's continue our fight against COVID-19. Vaccination along with social distancing, sanitization and masks.
Mask up, India!
Put your mask on and cover your nose and be safe.
Mask up, India. As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India. Your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in Middle East countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, scan here. Switch to DD India now. With the world's largest COVID vaccination drive, India is leading the way. As the vaccine reaches every corner of the nation, do not forget the mantra, दवाई भी कड़ाई भी. Let's continue our fight against COVID-19. Vaccination along with social distancing, sanitization and masks.
Mask up, India.
Put your mask on and cover your nose and be safe.
Mask up India. Your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in Central Asian countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, scan here. Switch to DD India now.
Namaste India.
Namaste land.
Marhaban ila al-Hind. Zari India. Salam India.
Namaste India.
नमस्कार भारत.
Mui
Nous
India.
sommes land.
Nahnu hunud India.
माँ हिंदी हस्ती
Mung Hindian you.
सलाम हिंदुस्तान.
We are India.
Your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in all Southeast Asian countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, scan here. Switch to DD India now. As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India.
More news coming up over the next few minutes. First up, India is deeply concerned over continued attacks on minorities in Pakistan, including on places of worship. It called upon Pakistan to ensure safety and security of minorities in that country. An MEA spokesperson condemned such attacks while talking to the media in New Delhi.
We have seen disturbing reports on social media of a violent mob attack on a Ganesh temple in Rahim Yar Khan in Punjab province of Pakistan. The mob attacked the temple, desecrated the holy idols, and set fire to the premises. In addition to attacking the temple, the mob also attacked surrounding houses belonging to the Hindu community. Incidents of violence, discrimination, and persecution against minority communities, including attacks on places of worship, have continued unabated in Pakistan. Within the last year itself, various temples and gurdwaras have been attacked, including the Mata Rani Bhatiyani Mandir in Sindh in January 2020, the Gurdwara Shri Janam Sthan in January 2020, Hindu temple in Karak in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in December 2020. These incidents are occurring at an alarming rate, while the state and security institutions in Pakistan have stood by idly and completely failed in preventing these attacks on the minority communities and their places of worship. The Pakistani Chargé d'Affaires in their High Commission here in Delhi was summoned today afternoon, and a firm protest was lodged expressing our grave concerns at this reprehensible incident and the continued attacks on the freedom of religion of the minority community and their places of religious worship, and calling upon Pakistan to ensure the safety, security, and well-being of its minority communities.
The Ministry of External Affairs also said that India and Afghanistan relations are broad-based and cover various aspects, including a strong development partnership. The spokesperson said India is closely monitoring the evolving security situation, and India will take up the issue in the UN Security Council on Friday.
India has been supporting the government and people of Afghanistan in realizing their aspirations for a peaceful, democratic, and prosperous future, where the interests of all sections of Afghan society, including women and minorities, are protected. We are closely monitoring the evolving security situation in Afghanistan, and we continue to call for an immediate and comprehensive ceasefire. As regards the UN Security Council, the issue of Afghanistan will be deliberated there tomorrow. We will share our vision and perspectives on Afghanistan, and we look forward to productive deliberations on this important issue.
Right, moving on, India's ambassador to Bhutan, Ruchira Kamboj, on Thursday handed over the prestigious Brunel Medal to Lyompo Loknath Sharma, the chairperson of Mangdechu Hydroelectric Project Authority. The Brunel Medal is an award given by the Institution of Civil Engineers, London, to recognize excellence in civil engineering and valuable service or achievement. Right, take a look now at COVID-19 numbers from around the world. Now, more than 200 million people are infected by the coronavirus. 180 million have recovered so far. The deadly virus has claimed more than 4.26 million lives. The United States is the worst affected. It is witnessing a spike in new COVID-19 cases these days. The United States has reported over 36.1 million cases. The death toll in the US has crossed 631,000. Meanwhile, World Health Organization is calling for a halt on COVID-19 vaccine booster until at least the end of September. Now, the call for a moratorium is the strongest statement yet from the United Nations agency. It comes at a time when countries are discussing about the need for a vaccine booster to combat the fast-spreading Delta variant of the coronavirus. Now, WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says a moratorium could ensure that at least 10% of the population of most countries is vaccinated. Ghebreyesus says even while hundreds of millions of people are still waiting for their first dose, some rich countries are moving towards a booster dose. So far, more than 4 billion doses have been administered globally, but over 80% of those doses have been administered in high or upper income middle countries, even though they account for less than half of the world's population. Right, take a look at what else is making news around the world in our News at Glance segment.
In Beirut, tear gas was used to disperse protesters who congregated near parliament and hurled stones at security forces as civil unrest marked the first anniversary of the catastrophic Beirut port blast. As many as 8 people were wounded in the protest. The blast last year, caused by a huge quantity of ammonium nitrate kept at the port for years, was one of the biggest non-nuclear explosions ever recorded. More than 200 people were killed and several others wounded. At the time of the explosion, Lebanese were already facing deepening hardship due to the financial crisis caused by decades of state corruption and waste. Earlier on Wednesday, a mass was held in memory of the victims who were killed in the explosion. The ceremony was held at the port, where damages from the explosion could still be seen. Families held on to the portraits of their lost ones as each one of the victims' names was read out loud. The audience also observed a minute of silence. In the United States, 10 people have died when an overloaded van crashed in southern Texas on Wednesday. As many as 30 people were in the vehicle that veered off the Highway 281 in Encino, Texas, and struck a metal utility pole. The remaining 20 passengers were rushed to a local hospital where some of them were listed in critical condition. The crash took place several miles from a US border patrol checkpoint, and police said the passengers appeared to be illegal immigrants. Police added that the van did not have seats or passenger restraints. The van was traveling at high speed at the time of the crash, and the vehicle was not part of a pursuit before the accident occurred. Police is probing the crash, and the victims' identities will be released once next of kin have been notified. Australia will create a 380 million Australian dollar reparations fund for members of its indigenous population who were forcibly removed from families months after 800 survivors filed a class action lawsuit. The survivors launched a class action against the federal government in the New South Wales Supreme Court seeking compensation covering a period ranging from 1910 to the 1970s. Under the compensation scheme, eligible survivors will receive a one-off 75,000 Australian dollar payment for the harm caused by their forced removal and a further 7,000 Australian dollar to support their healing. More than 100,000 Aboriginal children were removed from their families and communities, and in 2008, then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd led a landmark parliamentary apology to members of the so-called stolen generation. Japan has decided to expand its COVID-19 emergency curbs to cover more than 70% of the population as a surge in cases strained hospitals in the Olympics host city Tokyo and other parts of the country. Japan had avoided the explosive outbreaks seen elsewhere, but infections are rising fast as new cases hit record highs in Tokyo, overshadowing the July 23rd, August 8 Olympics and fueling doubts over Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga's pandemic response. Currently, 6 prefectures, including Tokyo, are already under full state of emergency to last through 31st August, and another 5 are under less strict directives, meaning just over half of the population is covered by such restrictions. Both types of curbs have recently focused on asking restaurants to close early and stop serving alcohol while urging people to stay at home as much as possible. Special forces of Russia and Uzbekistan took part in the joint exercise in Uzbekistan amid fears in both countries that a worsening security situation in Afghanistan could spill. Those separate drills are taking place on 5th to 10th August and involve Russian, Tajik and Uzbek forces. Russia will deploy 4 Tu-22M3 supersonic strategic bombers in drills near the Afghan border in Uzbekistan. The bombers will fly to the drill site from the Russian city of Saratov and will be accompanied by MiG-29 fighter jets from the Uzbek Air Force during the drill. The exercise takes place against the background of a worsening security situation in Afghanistan as US-led forces pull out of the country after a 20-year deployment. Argentina's health minister said that the South American country is considering mixing COVID-19 vaccines amid a reported shortage in Sputnik V supplies. Argentina is among the first countries to widely use the two-dose Sputnik V. Last month, it ratcheted up pressure on Moscow over delays in the arrival of second doses that are holding back the South American nation's inoculation campaign. A British study in June showed an AstraZeneca shot followed by Pfizer produced the best T-cell responses and a higher antibody response than Pfizer, followed by AstraZeneca. The Russian vaccine uses two doses made of different components and is administered 21 days apart. Several countries that have begun receiving shipments have complained in recent weeks about delays in the delivery of batches of second doses. RDIF has struck manufacturing partnerships abroad with producers in 14 countries, the statement said, and will further increase its capacity next month due to a partnership with India's Serum Institute. At least 17 people, including 7 of one family, were killed and 15 others injured in a lightning strike at Pakha Telikhari Ferryghat area in Bangladesh northwestern district of Champai-Nawabganj. The condition of the 4 injured persons is very critical and they may be referred to the Rajshahi Medical College Hospital. World Today Desk, DD India.
Right, and time now for offbeat stories in our Beyond Headlines segment, including one about how some artists in Vietnam have come up with a special song dedicated to COVID-19 patients and healthcare workers alike. Take a look.
One of the biggest cities in the world now boasts a bird-eye view of its Brazilian concrete jungle. Sao Paulo's tallest building, the Mirante do Vale, now features a glass floor on its 42nd level that is putting a fear of heights to the test. Called the Sampa Sky, this dizzying lookout will open to the public on 8th of August, but a selected few were treated to a special preview at the 557 feet tall building. The Sampa Sky was inspired by Skydeck, which is 103rd floor of the Willis Tower in Chicago. Rare snowfall fell heavily over parts of Bolivia and Peru on Tuesday and Wednesday, turning streets white and blanketing the buildings. In Bolivia's Potosi, temperatures were dipped below zero, providing the perfect climate for the downpour of snow. Locals found a perfect moment to throw snowballs at each other. In Peru, vehicles were left stranded after snow covered the landscape, blanketing roads into a sheet of ice. The cold weather is expected to continue in Bolivia and Peru for the remainder of the week. 26 years after her death, late Tejano singer Selena Quintanilla Perez continues to be celebrated. This time, Tidal Wave Productions is releasing a comic book detailing her life in editions printed both in Spanish and English. The comic book is the company's Female Force series that also features Dolly Parton and former US First Lady Michelle Obama. The 22-page book highlights Selena's upbringing and her rise to fame in the 1980s and 1990s. The publication will be released on 11th of August 2021. How dangerous are tiger mosquitoes? It is a question that has been troubling scientists of Leibniz Institute for Agriculture Landscape Research located near Berlin. The reason for their worry is not small. Asian tiger mosquitoes that are otherwise indigenous to South Asian climate are now spreading across Germany. The scientists think that climate change can be a cause of that. Asian tiger mosquitoes can transmit over 20 different pathogens, including chikungunya virus and the Zika virus. In Venezuela, Juan Carlos Rodriguez and his wife Heidi have opened a shelter for the vulnerable animals in their home in the lush suburbs of the capital, Caracas. The home that shelters mostly sloths has been opened with a theme based on famous Hollywood movie Star Wars. Named Chewie the Gentleman Rescue Center, the shelter home has so far rehabilitated more than 40 sloths and returned them to the wild. The first comprehensive scientific analysis of stone hedges imposing megaliths has revealed some of the traits that made them an exemplary building material for the famed monument in southern England, including their stout resistance to weathering. Researchers on Wednesday described a battery of examinations that provided a glimpse inside one of the stone hedge's 52 sandstone megaliths. They studied a coarse sample extracted from one of the sarcens called Stone 58 during 1950s conservation work. It was kept in the United States for decades before being returned to Britain for research in 2018. The sarcens are made of stone called silkret. The examination showed that a silkret is comprised of mainly sand sides, quartz grains cemented tightly together by an interlocking mosaic of quartz crystals. In Vietnam, the artists have come up with a special song under the program known as the Song of Unity. The program focuses on bringing music to COVID-19 patients and healthcare staff to celebrate their spirit and give them a ray of hope. The artists at field hospitals in Thu Duc City performed many special songs about love and the spirit of people in the fight against the pandemic. World Today Desk, DD India.
In other news, a new wildfire in Northern California has prompted thousands of evacuations. The river fire started Wednesday in Placer County. Thousands of residents in California and Nevada were forced to evacuate as the wildfires threatened. California authorities reported 35 to 40 structures has been damaged by the growing fire. The fire has burned more than 1,400 acres of land. EU scientists meanwhile said that it last month was one of the world's hottest Julys on record, behind only 2019 and 2016, with unusually high temperatures seen in regions from Finland to the United States. Record-breaking heat in the United States and Canada, which began in June, killed hundreds of people and fanned wildfires. In China, Belgium and Germany, extreme rainfall caused deadly floods too. Right, time now for you to check out our Today in History segment to know what 5th August is remembered for.
It was on this day in 1884 that the cornerstone for the Statue of Liberty was laid on Bedloe's Island, now Liberty Island, in New York Harbor. It was on this day in 1914 that the first electric traffic lights were installed on the corner of Euclid Avenue and East 105th Street in Cleveland, Ohio, United States. It was on this day in 1930 that the American astronaut Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon, was born in Wapakoneta, Ohio, US. It was on this day in 1949 that a 6.4 magnitude earthquake struck Tunguruha province, Ecuador, killing 5,000 people. It was on this day in 1962 that Nelson Mandela was arrested in KwaZulu-Natal on charges of leaving the country without a passport and calling on a workers' strike. It was on this day in 1962 that Hollywood icon Marilyn Monroe was found dead with an empty bottle of Nembutal sleeping pills by her side in bed at her Los Angeles home. It was on this day in 2017 that UN Security Council voted to impose sanctions on North Korea for its continued missile program. World Today Desk, DD India.
And with that, it's a wrap. But news continues here on DD India. You can catch all the latest updates on our social media, mobile and digital platforms. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.